Findings and Analysis. Chapter 5, Conclusion and Recommendation. Now today I will present three chapters, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3. My content, Chapter 1, Introduction, Problem Statement, Research Objectives, Research Questions. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Chapter 3, Research Framework and Design. Theoretical Framework, Research Hypothesis and Methodology. I also present research activities and milestones, expected outcome, benefits of the research conclusion, and the last is references. Introductions. Starting from 2000s, ICT has been laid on the education reform agenda both as an object of education and as an important pedagogical tool for innovating teaching methodology. The majority of Vietnamese teacher educators has a high probability to use ICT to relay their existing method and to enhance student learning from time to time. Problem statement. According to UNESCO model of ICT development, there are 4 stages: emerging, applying, infusing, and transforming. At first glance, high school in Vietnam are still in applying and emerging. And according to Mazemda 2009, modeling ICT development in education. In emerging and stage, they have become aware of ICT and supporting work performance. And the next stage applying is learning how to use ICT and enhancing traditional teaching. So this paper helped to raise awareness of potential of ICT learning in high school, especially in high school. It will envisage to improve the way teachers conduct teaching, which is more effectively. On the other hand, students who will benefit from such learning experience. As a whole, the implementation of ICT in high school will lead the building of potential of human capital to new heights. I have 5 research objectives. First, to investigate the gaps in the teaching effectiveness of traditional teaching method. The second is to determine the latest ICT tools available for teaching at the high school level. And the third, to discover the various methods that may be used to encourage teachers to make greater use of ICT tools. The fourth, to understand the potential challenges that may be had to be overcome before successful implementation of ICT-based teaching policy. And the fifth, to establish a framework for measuring and monitoring the effectiveness of learning outcomes to be used as a measure of continuous improvement through extended to ICT. So according to 5 research activities, I have 5 research questions. 1. Where are the perceived teaching gaps in traditional methods currently being used by teachers in high school of SCMC? 2. How many ICT tools available during 2017 to 2019, the period of this study? I will be updating the new technology until the Viber presentation. We use the potential accelerate student learning. And the next, how can teachers in high school of SCNC be incentivized to adopt ICT enhancement to support existing traditional teaching method? Next, how may the potential interventions be addressed to make ICT implementation successful? And the last, how can the effectiveness of teaching be evaluated to ensure ongoing improvement in the teaching process with the use of ICT based on a specific subject curriculum? My literature review. So, what is the ICT mean? ICT is broad term encompassing radio, television, the internet, and the web, satellite, and Wi-Fi system, mobile telephony, computer hardware, software, audio and video conferencing, virtual reality, social media, wiki, 3D printer, and so on. And according to Colin Latchem, there are some latest ICT tools I will present today. The first one is virtual reality. Virtual reality enables learning from accurate and realistic 3D model of machine, equipment, planetary system, and other phenomena in safe, more convenient and better controlled environments. The second is simulation, games, and role-plays. ICT-based simulation, games, and role-play can be used to model certain situations and enable learners to learn by trial and error and conduct experiments rather than simply be in passive learning. And the third, augmented reality. Augmented reality involves embedding objects with barcodes that open web pages on learners' tablets and smartphones to overlay these objects with digital information. And the last, 3D printing. As 3D printing technology becomes more readily available and less expensive, this is yet another technology that could be used to support STEM subjects, meaning science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and art and design. This enables learners to download 3D design and print them on desktop 3D printer. This is my theoretical framework. I have 5 IV. 1 moderating variable and 1 dependent variable. My independent variable 1 is a validity of ICT tools. And the second is teacher motivation to use ICT tools. The third, teacher competency in using ICT tools. The fourth, student competency in using ICT tools. And the last is curriculum and delivery method. My MV is supported by policy maker and management of school, and my DV enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. I have 7 hypotheses. S1, having availability of ICT tools positively influence enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. Teacher motivation to use ICT tools positively influence enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. H3, teacher competency in using ICT tools positively influence enhancement of learning experiments of high school students in SCMC. 4, student competency in using ICT tools positively influence enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. S5, curriculum and delivery method positively influence enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. S6, having support by policymaker and management of high school determines the relationship between availability of ICT tools on enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. And the last, having support by policymaker and management of school determine the relationship between teacher motivation to use ICT tools on enhancement of learning experience of high school students in SCMC. My methodology. I designed my case study, and I intend to continue gathering information until viable presentation as the technology are evolving. My data analysis data will be collected by design 2 questionnaire, 1 for teacher and 1 for student to go their learning experiment. And in my case study, I use qualitative and quantitative method. This is my Gantt chart, research activity and milestone. From March 2018 to March 2020. Expected outcomes. I hope to find out the potential and how to apply new technological achievements into traditional teaching methods to improve the learning outcomes of students in high school, particularly Vietnam. This research will promote the application of new technology to teaching and education of high school to integrate with advanced education. My benefits of research. Each will benefits high school administrator that can create or revise policy. Teacher might benefit if results indicate a change in its our practice. And finally, the study will benefit students who learn in experiment will be improved by the findings. Conclusion. According to Rahul, there is no best method. So it seems we have been misguided by abundant traditional teacher-directed method of learning where the teachers spend more time standing at the front of the class, directing learning and controlling classroom activity. Therefore, the findings of this study will help improve the teaching and learning effectiveness of traditional method based on advances in science and technology. This is my references. And thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Nguyen. Now we open the question and answer session. Firstly, to the examiner first. Maybe we can start with Prof. Pram.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Yen, and thank you very much for taking this slot to defend your proposal. We have a few feedback for you. So let me just go through one by one the feedback, and definitely this is to enhance your work, to make it look better. Yeah. So let's look at the first one, the title. Yeah, the title. Yeah. Investigating the potential to enhance teaching effectiveness of traditional teaching methods by introducing ICT teaching support in Ho Chi Minh High School. Yeah, the title is a bit lengthy. You may want to look at it, and if you look at your page on the framework, your framework on page 14. Yeah. Always remember the dependent variable, yeah, is what you are investigating on, and normally this will also be your topic. Yeah. So if I read your dependent variable, it is not really reflecting your topic. Here, the dependent variable you're talking about enhancing learning experience. Yeah. Yeah. But your title is talking about investigating the potential to enhance teaching. You're not talking about the enhancing of a learning experience here. And if I see your title, there is no word experience, learning experience. Yeah. So you may want to look at it. Maybe you want to capture this to be your title. This sounds better. This is my feedback. Yeah. Next, let's move on to the introduction is okay. Now your problem statement. Yeah. Normally, when you say, look at the last page, you look at the last page, yeah? Yeah, this is the last page of problem statement, right? Yeah, so page 8, yeah? This paper hopes to bring the awareness of potential of ICT learning in high school. It will envisage to improve the way teachers conduct teaching, which is more effectively. On the other hand, students too will benefit. Now, this is more towards telling what this paper is going to do, yeah, rather than telling what is the problem that you are, planning to investigate, or what is the opportunity that you are trying to explore, or are you trying to explain a phenomenon? So it is not clear. This is more like a statement, yeah. So you should be writing based upon the above discussed literature on ICT use in high school. Yeah, there is still a big gap. There is still a gap, yeah, in the application of ICT towards learning experience, students' learning experience in the context of Vietnam, specifically in high school. Hence, this paper will investigate and address the issue or address the gap, close the gap. That's how you need to end the problem statement. Yeah. Next, moving on to your research objective. Fine, good, but you're missing one. These are specific objectives. Always in research at PhD level, you need to have the main purpose of the study. You must have one, the main purpose of the study. That is the main objective. Yeah. Then only you have to talk about these. These are specific. Specifically, you are looking at each area to answer. But then, there is a main objective or the purpose or the aim. Sometimes when you read research articles, they won't write the main objective. They put the aim of this paper, the purpose of this paper. That is actually the main objective. So you need to have a main objective. So your main objective may be the main objective, the main purpose of this paper is to investigate the level of ICT usage in high school, and to propose, an appropriate model for ICT usage in high school. Something like that should be your main one. Then these are all the specific. This is fine, good, perfect. Yeah. Then moving on to literature review. You have a literature, yeah. But then looking at page 13 and 14, page 13 and 14, you don't have, yeah, one more page down, yeah. Okay, this page, okay, good. You don't have any references for this. Who said this? Who said virtual reality?
Colin lecture.
No, further up. Just now, yeah, number 12, yeah. Who said this?
Colin lecture, 2017.
Okay, there are some latest ICT tools teaching, yeah. Okay, fine. But you must remember, in literature review, every statement that you put up, you must have source. Otherwise, people will challenge you, yeah. Because, evidence speaks. Literature is all about evidence. So, if you look at page 12, move down page 12. There's no. And then page 13 also no. 3D printer, 3D printing technology becomes more readily available, less expensive. Who said it's less expensive? Maybe if you ask Dr. Janaka, you will say, it is very expensive, you will say. So, you must have someone who said this.
The same.
Okay, fine. Then you need to quote the reference. Yeah. And my advice for student is, always when you finish your literature review, your chapter 2, always have a summary table for literature to make your examiners feel comfortable. The examiners will feel comfortable. Oh, this guy have done a very thorough literature search. So they'll feel comfortable. So put a table, a summary table for the literature, specifically to highlight your variables. You move to the next page. Yeah, these are your variables, right? So now if I ask you, teacher's competency in using ICT tool, do you have a literature reference for that?
In my work document.
Yeah, so you have it in your write-up, full write-up, yes, you have it. But that's why I said, in your presentation, have a summary table. The summary table will help you. Yeah, it will help people to quickly get, oh, this guy came up with the independent variable based on these reference. Yeah? Okay. Now, your framework. You have a moderating variable, which is actually the policy and the management of the school, right? The moderating variable.
Yes.
That's the moderating, right?
Moderating variable.
Good. Is the moderating variable only moderating IV1 and IV2 or all the IVs?
In my research, I just study IV1 and IV2.
So your moderator is only going to moderate IV1 and 2?
Yes.
Or moderate all?
In my opinion, it's just 1, 2.
Okay. This one you really need to be, give some thoughts. Yeah. If you talk about policy makers, like for example in the Malaysian higher education system or even Malaysian education system, policy makers plays a very important role in curriculum. Your IV5. Yeah?
IV5.
Like for example, we in the university, we follow MQA, policy makers, right? And they moderate, right? So there is a close relationship, moderating effect. So policymakers, my feedback, my request is if you can have the moderator across all the IVs, that will be better. Yeah, especially policy, culture. These are always put as moderators, and they will have an impact across. Yeah. All right. Okay, move to the next page. Your hypothesis. Hypothesis number 7, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, hypothesis number 7. Next page. Yeah. You see here. Having support by policymakers and management of school determines the relationship between teachers' motivation. What relationship? Is it a mediating relationship or moderating relationship? So you must put there a moderating effect or a mediating effect. Otherwise, I will look at, this has to be another independent variable. Yeah? Okay? Okay, chapter 3, I'll leave it to Dr. Janaka. Give some time.
First thing I noticed that your list of references is quite limited. I counted one by one. The periodicals only you have 15. You only have 15, out of which most of them are like reports, official websites, and you probably have about maybe 5 journal articles. So at PhD level, that is very, very limited. So you need to go into theory itself. I don't see you using any underpinning theory to explain why you include certain variable into your theoretical framework. So you need to read a lot more journal articles.
Yes.
Very limited. Yeah. I think no more than 5 journal papers. Okay, let me ask you a question. You mentioned that in your method, you're going to use case study. This is slide number 17. So case study is quite a broad method. So what are you going to look at? So what are you going to find out? Are you going to interview somebody, look into certain records, or how are you going to do it?
Case study.
Yeah.
As case study is such teacher and student in high school in SCMC. Because my research is contextualized. Interview and survey, questionnaire.
So you consider this a qualitative approach or quantitative approach, or mix?
Mix. I compile.
Oh, okay. You're using a mixed mode. It sounds to me, if you look at your research objective, I think it's slide number 9. Number 1, to determine the latest tool available. Number 2, to investigate gap in teaching effectiveness. Number 3, to discover various methods. Number 4, potential challenges. Number 5, to establish a framework. It sounds to me very exploratory, rather than trying to confirm certain relationship. So I'm kind of curious why you start with a conceptual framework. If you're going to be very qualitative or to become very exploratory, you don't have a fixed model to try to confirm with all the hypotheses. Maybe we are not very well informed in this area. Maybe on day 3 of the colloquium, where we have a case study guru to tell us, we will learn a lot more. I think we are probably not very well informed in this area. So make sure on day 3 you sit through the presentation by this Prof. Zaina. Yeah. Other than that, you attach a questionnaire. So you're going to collect from how many students or how many teachers? Your sample and population?
I just I think I will do a pilot sample about 20 teachers, and then I assess my questionnaire.
20 teachers?
Yes, just pilot sample.
Oh, pilot. Okay. Yeah. We'll go through the whole thing and then give you feedback on the questionnaire.
The questionnaire, I feel that we need to go through some content validity. Yeah, content validity. To be fair to you, also to be fair to us, give us some time. We'll go through the questionnaire and look at the content validity. Because I see in the questionnaire, you have Likert scales, but you don't have nominal and ordinal data. You have interval data there. Yeah, you're collecting interval data, but you don't have nominal and ordinal data. So you also need to have sometimes the ordinal data or nominal data. Like for example, how many years of experience you have been in teaching line? Yeah, so you need that kind of data. Yeah, are you a science-based teacher or are you an arts-based teacher and so on? Yeah, so those are nominal data you need to have. Yeah. Ordinal is like you want to measure the number of years of your teaching, or 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years, in order, which order you have, right? So you need to have a good mix of ordinal and nominal as well as interval, but you have put all interval. Good. Statistically, interval data will prove your statistics. Yes, it's good. But you also need to have ordinal so that you can have a descriptive type of analysis before you can go to inferential statistics. Yeah? Okay?
Yes, I will put in session 1.
Yeah, sure. So I'm done. Dr. Janaka, you're done? All right, okay, good.
Okay, thank you for the very valuable comments from both our examiner. We had a very brief statistical class as well. I hope you can take note on what the examiner has mentioned. So the result of your proposal will be announced to your supervisor, and through him, he will be informing you after this.
Yes,
Okay?
thank you. Thank you, my professors, and thank you, everyone. Yes.
Okay, so we will move on to our next presenter, Mr. Janaka. Yes, it's a very small world. Okay, Mr. Janaka will be giving us a progress update with the title Augmented Reality to Enhance Tourism in Sri Lanka. His supervisor is Prof. Selapan. Yes, and I think he's ready. Okay. Mr. Janaka, so you please keep note of the timekeeping. I'll be raising the paper when there's a 10-minute or 5 minutes left. Okay, just keep looking at you sitting there.
Good afternoon. I'm Janaka Kodipili. My research topic is augmented reality to enhance tourism in Sri Lanka. This is my first update after approved my proposal by university and guided by Prof. Selapan. I just go through, especially today I'm like to present what's the update after approved my proposal, what Prof. Selapan told me to change. I just input these things. This is current status of tourism in Sri Lanka. It's as you can see that always there is some increment of tourist visit to Sri Lanka is there, and the problem statement is as there are very few tourist applications, and if there are more tourists come to Sri Lanka, but still the technology is not up to date. And if you have been to Sri Lanka, you can experience that still they are at the airport, they are given only just a booklet for the tourists. There is no proper application, no something for them to use to go to the some interesting places and get some information. Likewise, I'm not going through one by one. I just explain what's the things here. And the research question is actually the earlier my research question is directly I want to apply augmented reality applications in Sri Lanka market and to develop an application by using augmented reality technology. But my supervisor advised me to not to do that. First start with the technology enhancement. First check, is there any novel technological adaptation to enhance the tourism in Sri Lanka, then move to the what kind of new mobile application need in Sri Lanka, then how to incorporate augmented reality and what extent Sri Lanka tourism can go with augmented reality technology. Objectives are to identify technological limitations and to investigate new mobile technologies suitable to address the above limitation, and design and implement augmented reality based mobile solution to Sri Lankan tourism industry, and to evaluate the capabilities for enhancing tourism in Sri Lanka. Methodology I'm using here is that first pre-questionnaire provide to them to check whether there is a requirement for technology enhancement in Sri Lanka tourism. I already done that part. I prepared two questionnaires here for the tourists and for the stakeholders in the tourism industry. For the tourists, there are questions like what they are feeling in Sri Lanka, and actually they need to application comparing to other countries. Are they satisfied with Sri Lankan support for technological support, and also what is their suggestion for the stakeholders? The drivers, tourist guides, and the hotel managers. Likewise, are they satisfied with Sri Lankan technological situation for the tourists? And number two is after getting the questionnaires, 2 questions, I can get idea about that, the neatness of the application, then develop a suitable mobile application for that, and the research methods, and using the recommendation for that application. This is the architecture of the AR system. First, there are 2 parts in that system. First one is the developer's part, that the developer needs to train the picture or the that document. That is done by, they no need to do that. What they can do is they can send it to the other party. I mean that For the augmented reality system, there are main two parts. First one is the image recognition part. Other one is the rendering part, augmented reality part. The first part is done by even using some third-party tools. Here I am going to suggest to do some tool called Euphoria. We can just get the image and send to them. Then they will send the image with recognition parameters. Then what can we do is we put the image in the database and we can use their parameters to identify the image. After identify the image, then it get into the trace visually or any other method we can put them. What I want to say is, if just assume there is a image, what you can do is you can open your application in the phone and just focus the image to that application, then relevant video or some document will display. Even the video can display. This is the components of the AR system, image recognition part, that there are several software development kits and the frame are using. Position and orientation mean what I said earlier, this image sent to the somebody and get the trackable image, and augmented reality part is rendering video, superimpose the object. This is the just a screenshot of the proposed AR application, but I just developed the very simple application use helping with my technical friends, because I just want to get some idea of especially to get idea for me. If you need some check this application after this presentation, I can show you. I had some Sri Lankan historical places like this, and just you can focus this image also with me to image this application and you can get that video. Proposed system is what I said earlier, that I can use the global positions GPS system also, because just assume that some historical place in situate one place, not only the image tracking, you can get by GPS method that place to recognize. And also as a value addition to this software, you can get some other important places around you. This is the functional features of proposed AR application. What I explained, upload the image need for visually tracked. These images would train with feature extraction algorithms. Here on, this is called trackable object. Then upload meta information. That means the information related to the object we can add. Then the user's part, user open the proposed app, Android or iOS. Then he recognize the image and the relevant binded video or the document will display with that image. The other most important part of here is there is some big data analysis part also here, because we can track every information there and we can put just assume that when I download the app, I should include my information, my email address and my country. Then we can see regularly how many people visit this place and get some information. Significant, the same thing. The conclusion part is what I'm going to want to say is that augmented reality mobile application would enhance tour guide system of Sri Lanka. I'm going to do that, and these facts are very interesting for the development in this area. Final outcome of this project is beneficial for the tourism industry, and this mobile application will be much more convenient than booklet since the tourists can easily install the application and use it without much difficulty. And main objective of this research is first to identify the requirement of a new technology for a tourism industry. Number two, if it is so, then develop a augmented reality based application with attractive features to enhance the
produce augmentation technology into tourism places. So we shall open the question and answer session. We can start with maybe Dr. Janaka, since Mr. Janaka is presenting. Or maybe the supervisor, Prof. Sal.
Yeah, I have already. Yeah, I have. So if I have time, I can show this one.
Okay, let's see what is this augmentation technology is about. Okay, thank you, Mr. Janaka. Anyone want to have some comments? Well, I think personally it's a very interesting idea whereby you can get a lot of information. Like example, you are looking into something which is 2D or 3D, but now through your phone, you can get instant information. You don't need any more signages. You don't need to put up any more boards. So through the phone, you can get the information. Yes, Prof. Shaheen.
Or you have a team, I develop this app for you. To take how much I need time to develop this. Yeah, actually, this app is not developed by me. I have given the concept to them, right? And they have given my name. You will share with them the concept
of your app.
Yeah.
Not the develop the app. You have done the customer acceptance of the application, and after that share your funding with the app developer and develop the app.
Okay. Actually, currently I am doing the requirement of this type of app, but even I already developed this app, still doing the requirement of this one. Still I am sharing questionnaires and getting information for them for the requirement of this type of app.
You already develop what I said consumer data, and there is a tool and you can app to it.
Yeah. Yeah, my contribution is I'm try to apply to research in Sri Lanka. How we going to doing some interactive things for the tourists.
So
Still there is a gap.
your study is about the consumer acceptance,
Yeah.
but your PhD is informatics. Then how? Suppose your PhD title should be in management, but you will receive the PhD in informatics without doing anything related to the programming. Then how do you justify it in future? Just out of curiosity, a question. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's ample of time after our colloquium, so the student can discuss with the supervisor. Okay, there are some very important comments from our president.
Okay. Hello. So Janaka, don't worry about the question that Dr. Shaheen posed. It's just, out of curiosity is asking. Okay. And no worries. Yeah? Yeah. So no worries. Your PhD is informatics, information and technology. Yeah. So here you are providing the tourists information through using technology base. Yeah. So you're not a hardcore IT researcher. Like programming, you don't do that hardcore PhD in computer science. You're not doing that, or PhD in programming. Yeah? But yours is providing information using technology. Yeah? So you should be able to justify. But you can. I'm not an IT guy, but anyway, you can discuss it cross-sell on this. But don't worry, students. I just want you all to know that this colloquium session is open for feedback and inputs. It's always good to have feedback and input from the in-house. Internally, yeah, rather than people from outside question you, yeah. So it's good we give you feedback, and then you can see, we can also give you the answer to it and the solution. Yeah, we move from here. Now, just now in the morning, I was taking an address with a group of people, industry guys, just across the other room there. There are about 50 industry guys there, and then some of them in the morning when I was talking to them, they approached me and they said, we are interested in taking up our masters, and some said, oh, we are interested in taking a PhD. Then later when I took address with them, I told them, we welcome you to do masters and PhD with us. But when I asked them what topic you want to do, then they said, some of them said, I think we need to study, I would like to study about employee job satisfaction. And another guy says, but now the latest trend is engagement. I think I also want to study about employee engagement. My answer to them was very straightforward. I said, look, if you are a CEO of a company, an employee comes to you and say, I'm not satisfied with my job, what will you do as a CEO? In this current time, current challenging period, you are a CEO, an employee comes to you and say, I'm not happy with my job, I'm not satisfied with my job. What will you do? Francis, what will you do? That's it. You're right, absolutely. If you are a CEO this current challenging time, if an employee comes to you, I'm not satisfied with my job, I'm not motivated to come to the job, you will tell him, that's the door for you. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, when we are working on a PhD topic and so on, work on a topic that really adds value to your mission, your career, because you're choosing this PhD to fix your career. It's going to be a career, right? The next 10 years or 20 years, this is supposed to help you. So work on a topic that really can build your career. Of course, talking about employee satisfaction and all, motivation is a very easy topic. You want to look for references, you can get thousands of them. You want to look for theories, you can get hundreds of theories. You ask Dr. Hussein, he will tell you all the theories. You ask Dr. Havi, they will tell you all the theories in motivation. These guys are masters. So, don't look at topics, so simple topic like that. No one is interested. Yeah? It's just another contribution, but look at topics that are really pressing. As I did mention, I shared with you all the last time that I'm currently working on this research industry 4.0. Yeah, I'm really struggling. Me as a researcher, I'm struggling through because entirely a new topic. I've explored, done with my chapter 1, done with my chapter 2, done with my chapter 3, done with my chapter 4. But the outcome is not to my expectation. And I'm just, last 2 months I've been thinking, what went wrong? Yeah, it was not meeting my expectation. What I saw or what I'm getting is not there. Of course, I can go and finish up my research, but I am not satisfied because my outcome has not been, my research objectives are not answered through my outcome. Okay? So as I was going through this, then I was reading some further articles and I came to understand this. We are talking about Industry 4.0 today. Everyone is going for Industry 4.0. But ever did anyone thought about ethical dilemma in Industry 4.0? Do you think there is an ethical dilemma in Industry 4.0? Yes or no? Is there an ethical issue in 4.0? Anyone? If there is, what? Which area do you think? The whole world is rushing for 4.0. But my question is there an ethical dilemma in 4.0? Data sharing? Yes. Yeah? Abuse of privacy? Yes. Security, information security? Data security? Yes. Huh? Yes. Job losses. Job loss, right? If you're a policy maker for the government, at one hand you're pushed by the industry to go for 4.0. On another hand, you are now asked to think about what will happen if you go for 4.0. Job losses, right? That is a real thing that we need to study. What will happen? The impact of 4.0, yeah? And jobs. So what will happen to the jobs? Jobs will have to be redefined. Job will have to be redefined. You need to define jobs already. A new breed of names, you need to be coming ready for jobs. That's one. Another area of ethical issue which I look through the literature in Industry 4.0 is actually talking about, the autonomous vehicle, the driverless car and vehicle and all, right? That is 4.0, right? 4.0. But do you know that autonomous vehicle, even though how intelligent the vehicle is, all well programmed, but there is still an ethical issue? Have anyone heard about the trolley effect? There's a theory called trolley effect. No. Okay. Go and look, read it. Trolley effect. Now, the trolley effect is very simple. If I am driving a car today and on the road, I'm speeding about 100 kilometers, and there are 5 people crossing the road. On the right-hand side, I cannot go. If I go right, I knock another car. If I want to avoid these 5 people avoiding them, if I go to the right, I will be knocking 5 people. Knocking another car. If I go to the left, I'll be knocking 1 person walking by the side of the road. In front of me, I got 5. So as a human being, I can use my intelligence or my common sense. Instead of knocking 5 people, I got no choice. Huh? Instead of knocking 5 people, it's okay to knock 1 person. Yeah? Yeah? Instead of knocking 5, it's okay to knock 1. Do you think the autonomous vehicle has got that intelligence? They don't have. When they don't have that intelligence, then that is an ethical dilemma. An ethical dilemma. And this was recently discussed in Harvard University. Very recent, 2018 February, last month. They discussed about this and they said, hey, we don't have a solution for this. How intelligent you put artificial intelligence into autonomous vehicle, the vehicle would not be able to differentiate between knocking down 5, it's okay to knock 1, then save the 4. This is the ethical dilemma. A real dilemma that we are talking about in Industry 4.0 now. These are the areas that I would want students to research, especially those who just joined the PhD program. I think this is an opportunity for you to look into these topics. Yeah, I just shared with you 2 topics in Industry 4.0: job losses and ethical dilemma. So look into these topics, and also these are some of the recent topics that I find that y'all can work on. I put up here, and I'll give this to Dr. Janaka, and he will be sharing with you all. Yeah, interesting. How to improve personal relationship with a better goal achievement in the workplace. This is good. The most effective measure of performance, how managers can evaluate employees. We have got so many tools to evaluate employees. Yeah, but which one will be the most effective tool? Yeah. Next page, please. Just tab it. Sorry. Yeah, like this. Yeah. Okay. Relationship between social responsibility and corporate finance performance. Talking about corporate governance today, in the corporate governance structure today, every company today, they need to participate or to show their participation in corporate social responsibility. But then on the other hand, companies have got financial performance also to take care. So how do you balance between these two? Assuming you are just a struggling organization, just trying to make a balance. But now you got corporate social responsibility, and then you got financial performance. So how do you strike a balance? Do you participate? Yes or no? So this is a good topic to look at, yeah? How corporate policy can improve social condition enhance competitiveness, especially if you're talking about developing countries, just moving on countries, yeah? So how can these corporate policies, that means company policy, help to improve social condition and enhance competitiveness? 2 things. Social, we want to get social conditions to be improved. Second, we also want the competitiveness to be there. These are some of the topics which I find that will be interesting, especially for those who have just joined recently the PhD program. Look at these topics. I've shared these topics with Dr. Janaka. Explore them, and while you are here for the 4 days, come back to us and tell us, or if you want to know more information, come back to us and discuss with us, yeah? So we got many professors here. We got Prof. Dr. Shahid, Prof. Dr. Hussein, Dr. Janaka, Professor Dr. Janaka, Associate Professor now, yeah? And of course, Prof. Sel, Dr. Harvey. So please come forward and discuss with us, yeah? So my request is work on a topic that is really challenging. Don't work on a topic that is something easy to do and people don't see a value in it. Something that comes to you very hard will stay with you forever. Something that comes to you very easy will just go away from you very easily. Yeah. So I know in the morning just now, Dr. Mark Gore, he talked about his process. Very nice. I love indeed the way he was talking without using PowerPoint, but you're just drawing on the board and explaining. That's very nice. And he put a lot of message across to you. He has put in a lot of message across to you. Yeah. Talking about reputation and all these things. Very nice, beautiful. Talking about the process, talking about the outcome. So please continue to search for a topic, or you already got a topic, you can further, fine tune and enhance the topic, right? You can fine tune and enhance the topic, such a way that the topic is something that is really demanded today in your own industry. That will help you, yeah? So, sorry for taking this slot, eh? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Pram, for the message. We will, the session will be followed by a presentation by Dr.
Yes, very good. Do you have my slides already? I'm still in the old fashion of using slides, not the new fashion of the whiteboard. Yes. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's very interesting, when Mr. Andy Kwang spoke about enhancing the learning experience, he was talking about bringing in ICT. You cannot make ICT effective unless you have an innovative mindset. Yes? And then, of course, our brother Janaka from Sri Lanka spoke about using apps to make tourism more readily available. Again, that would not be taken up unless the policymakers had an innovative mindset. I was actually doing a session for a DBA class on leading innovation and change. And when I thought about what we do here for PhD research, I realized that almost every PhD paper requires innovative thought by the researcher. Innovation must become part of your DNA, because if you do not innovate, how are you going to add value? If you are not going to innovate, how are you going to propose something new that has not already been talked about? So I think almost all, if not all, research requires some kind of innovative thinking. I'm just exploring this thought here, and maybe we will process it together this afternoon. So this is the innovation factor in research projects. My first premise, or my first suggestion to you is that innovation is relevant to all disciplines. If you talk about IT, just now Prof was mentioning Industry 4.0. How was Industry 4.0 created? How did we come to a situation of Industry 4.0? It was on the shoulders of people who were innovative. How do we talk about using new IT languages, which Prof is now writing a book on? Yeah, Internet of Things and stuff like that. How do we come across with ideas like this? It is again a thought of innovation that drives the process. If some of you are doing research in tea plantations, for instance, and you want to have a solution, your solution has to be an innovative solution so that it will be acceptable to people. Whether it is science and technology, whether it is biotechnology, whether it is agriculture, or indeed whether it's business, innovation has a role to play. Yeah? So that's my premise. That's my starting point. Let us see if we can kind of share our understanding on innovation. Yeah? Since it is already the third session after lunch and you haven't had chance to have tea, so I suggest you participate in this discussion. Yeah? What do you think about this? Would you say this is innovation? Steve Jobs, what does he mean when he says, stay hungry, stay foolish? What does he mean? What does he mean, please? Anyone? Yes. Yeah. Stay hungry for knowledge, exploration. Yes, don't take yourself too seriously, yeah? Don't you think that these are the prerequisites of innovation? Think about it for a while. Don't you think that these are the prerequisites? You can come in, Mr. Tanga, no charge. Yeah. He charges you, yes. Yeah. Don't you think this has to be a prerequisite for innovation? If someone takes themselves too seriously, they fall in love with their own ideas. And once they fall in love with their own ideas, it becomes very difficult for them to change, isn't it? Yeah? One more. Now, this gentleman is a British gentleman. He's a playwright and a critic. I think some of you know him. George Bernard Shaw. Yeah? Actually, I grew up reading a lot about him. Look at that. Sometimes people say a new idea that may come out of your research will not work. But you know what he says? All great truths begin as blasphemies. Yeah? It is just like the scientists who first told the government of the day that the earth is actually round. But the government had already declared that the earth is flat. So by the scientists saying that the earth is in fact round, they were actually going against published laws. But it was a truth, isn't it? Started off as a blasphemy. Sometimes innovative thought sounds like something that is totally crazy. And I'm going to share with you literature later because you are all researchers. You are a research community. I will share with you research literature that talks about ideas that start off crazy, yeah, but then later become good business models. So life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself, yeah, and that you do through innovation. And another one of his famous sayings: a life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but certainly more useful than a life spent doing nothing at all. Yeah, and progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Yeah, you will notice that I use the words innovation and change together because they are two sides of the same coin. If you have innovation and you want to implement some innovative idea through your research, through your market surveys, through your studies, you will have to talk about change. Yeah, because of course, Albert Einstein has told us already to do things exactly the same way and hope for change or improvement, yeah, is insanity. So innovation must lead to change. Yeah, and once you have innovation, you should get change, and then you should find ways to manage that change. And this is where the work of a researcher becomes very, very useful, because you are going to find ways on how to implement this change. You know, there is one more thing that George Bernard Shaw said. It is a little wordy, so I didn't put it there. He said, there are two types of people in this world. Two types of people. There are one type of people whom we call reasonable people. They are the ones who are willing to adapt themselves to what's going on around them. They are reasonable people. Then there are those who are not willing to adapt themselves to what's going on around them. They want what's going on around them to adapt to them. They are the unreasonable people. And you know what George Bernard Shaw said? Because the unreasonable people expect the world to change and adapt to them, all progress depends on unreasonable people. And then he went on to say, you have to be the unreasonable person who brings the change in the world. Think about that. Yeah? You have to be the unreasonable person who brings that change. So, what is innovation? Innovation, therefore, is an attitude, isn't it? Because we are talking about stay hungry, stay foolish. That's an attitude. Yeah? Take an attitude that you want to challenge the environment around you, and that you want to see how you can bring the environment around you to adapt the new innovative ideas that you have. It's an attitude, isn't it? When an organization has an attitude, what is it called? Individuals, you and I, we have an attitude. What about an organization? Do organizations have an attitude? They surely do. What is it called? Wonderful. It's called culture. Yeah? So you see, innovation will take place when we have an organizational culture, an organizational attitude of innovation. I hope that in your research journey you find that whenever you visit us at Malaysia University of Science and Technology, you will find an attitude and a culture of innovation. This is our hope. This is our wish for you. Yeah? Okay then, I don't know how many of you remember this. How many have done this before? May I see by show of hands? Quick survey. How many of you have done this? Yes. Come on, own up. How many have done this? Yeah, okay, good. It's interesting. There are quite a number of people who are not owning up to having done this. Maybe I will remind you, then some of you will know. This is a little exercise so that you don't fall asleep, you understand? If you take a piece of paper, could you please draw 9 dots on a piece of paper? Let's do that. Take a piece of paper and draw 9 dots. If you don't have a paper, you can use our tables. They are also white in color, you know. Sorry, President is here. Yeah, 9 dots. You got the 9 dots? Yeah. They have to be like that, equidistant. 3, 3. 3 rows of 3 dots. Yes? Yeah. We're going to do this exercise 3 times over, 3 times. Yeah? First round. The rules of the game are that you have to connect all the 9 dots with a straight line. Straight line, no curve. Straight line. And once you start connecting the dots, you cannot lift your pen or pencil from paper. It has to be one continuous action. Yeah? So I would like you to try to connect the 9 dots using 5 lines. 5. I need the whiteboard after all. Yeah. Five lines. May I invite someone, brave person, to come and show us? Yes, sir. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Please give me a round of applause. Well done. This is not the only way to join all the 9 dots, obviously. Some of you may have got a slightly different design. Okay, now we go to the next part of this exercise. Now we are going to do exactly the same thing. We are going to use straight lines. We cannot lift pen from paper, but we can use only 4 lines now. 4 lines. Join the 9 dots using 4 lines only. Think about that. Sorry, Dr. Yang, I raised this up. Whenever that happens, it means we extend the colloquium by 2 hours more. Yes. Because you can't go out, it's raining. Yes. Okay. May I have a volunteer for 4 lines? 4 lines? No, you know, I know. Yeah, 4 lines. Yes. Using just 4 lines? If one of our research candidates comes up, that will be better. Using 4 lines only. Yeah, Mr. Thai, you want to try? Come, Francis. Francis, come, yes. Please give him a round of applause too. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. You see, we said you have to use straight lines. We said you cannot lift pen from paper, but we did not say you cannot go outside the 9 dots, isn't it? What happens is that the human mind is like that. We see 9 dots and we see a box. Now, this exercise was created to teach people to think outside the box. And that is step 1 of innovation. Yeah? Get a different perspective of things. Think outside the box. Okay, I told you that there were 3 levels of this exercise. Yeah. I think many of you may have seen this. Yeah. Now, the 3rd level is same issue, use straight lines, cannot lift pen from paper, but use only 3 lines. And now the plot thickens. Yeah. Okay, anyone come up with a solution for 3 lines? Now that you know you can go outside the box. Sometimes I meet people who are all the time outside the box, they never get into the box. Yes. Yes, please come. Yeah? Same rules, yeah. Same rules. Yeah. Same rules, yeah. You can't change the rules. It's the same exercise. Try, go ahead. No. Okay, thank you. Thank you, but that is not it. But now I am going to give you the clue, yeah, so that we can get on. The clue here is this. Have you watched the movie Zorro? That's the clue. So how would you do it? Come, come, come. Show me. Come. Yes, we got someone. Okay, please give her a round of applause. Give her some encouragement. Well, try. Go ahead. You want to draw the 9 dots here again? Okay, let me do that for you. Yes. Go for it. 3, we need 3. Yes? How? It is, well, go ahead, do it. Go all the way far out. Okay, you can complete it now? Okay, come. Yeah, you had an idea too? Come, you also come. Yeah, 3 people draw. Okay, now that would be accepted if we were in a Bollywood movie. Yes, but that's not a straight line. Yes. Yes, sure. I'm so glad we are bringing out our innovative juices. No, but you cannot lift your hand from paper. It has to be continuous. That's the rule. No? Okay, I'll show you. Tell me if you agree with me, yeah? Tell me. You watch me very closely now. Now, there's a little bit of science involved here. You draw a line slightly higher than the dots that joins the first dot on the top, the second dot in the middle, the third line at the bottom, but it's joined nevertheless. And then it goes all the way down, and just like Zorro wields his sword. You get that? Yeah. Yeah, of course, mine's not very straight, but it can be straight. Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Okay, the last one I think all of you can answer. How can you join all 9 dots using one line? This one everyone knows. How can you do it? 9 dots, but using just one line. What would you do? You would make the line very thick. Exactly. Yes. And now, this is the kind of thinking that makes people seem foolish, seem doing crazy things. But you see, this is the kind of thinking that will lead you to what researchers nowadays call the blue ocean. Blue ocean means thinking about things that your industry thinks are silly to do, not good to do. Yes, but you do them anyway. Okay, thank you for participating in that little game. There's a lot of literature on innovation. I want to invite each and every one of you, does not matter what topic you are doing, to think about how your idea is going to create an impact, isn't it? We always talk about how my research is going to create an impact. So I want you to consider what is the innovative element in what you are recommending. Yeah? Think about how you are going to innovate some new process, new product, new business model, new way of doing things. How are you going to innovate? So to help you think about these things, I have put together some recent literature on innovation. Of course, they are the giants of innovation, big classic works, but we won't go there. So very quickly, how much time do we have? Oh, okay. I want to share with you 3 books, and I have 2 minutes to do that. Yeah. Well, the first one is a book that was published in January this year. It's called Blue Ocean Shift. How many here have read the book Blue Ocean Strategy? How many of our researchers? May I know, in this research community, How many of us have read Blue Ocean Strategy? Not yet? Does not matter what your discipline is. Thank you, sir. Does not matter what your discipline is. Please go and get the precursor to this book that's called Blue Ocean Strategy, and then buy this book, Blue Ocean Shift. If you put both of them together and read them together, it will be incredible. You know what is the basic message of this book? The basic message of this book is all organizations tend to benchmark with each other too much. That's the message. Organizations tend to benchmark with each other too much. And in my work as a consultant, I have found whenever I recommend something to a client, they will ask me, who else is doing this? If there are no other people on planet Earth doing what I have recommended, they are not comfortable to do it. They want to make sure that somebody else has been the guinea pig, they have tried it, and it works for them, therefore it will work for us. But that's not what blue ocean companies do. Blue ocean companies say that if I think the way the industry thinks, then whatever I think, my competitors can think faster. So there's no reason why they won't come up with same ideas. If I want to make the competition irrelevant, I have to think the way the competition does not think. Yeah? And that was what Blue Ocean Strategy was all about. So people went and gave feedback to Rennie Mabon and W. Chan Kim, the authors of this book, that look, we like the concept, we like the idea, but it's very difficult to implement. How do we move from a red ocean thinking to blue ocean thinking? So that gave them an idea. They wrote this book, Blue Ocean Shift. How companies innovate their business position from being one where they are fighting with the competition to a position where the competition is chasing up to catch up with them. Blue Ocean Shift. Yeah? And you know what they did in order to make that? The biggest change is the human factor. They brought in humanness into the process. They said there's still a blue ocean perspective. What we said in book number 1 is still relevant, but now you bring in the human factor, and then you do not just go and compete in the market, you create. So now their tagline is, why compete when you can create? That's the tagline. Yeah? Think about this. Whether it is IT, whether it is civil engineering, or whether it is business, why compete when you can create, isn't it? And 5 steps of a blue ocean shift. Since we are a bit out of time, I will make this available on the WhatsApp group. Yeah? We'll convert it to PDF and I'll make it available. Another good book I would recommend for everyone to read is this one by Robin Gibson. Robin Gibson is a specialist consultant on innovation. His topic of consultancy is innovation. That's what he does. 24/7. He does consulting work on innovation. And after about 20 years in the consulting business, he came up with the 4 lenses of innovation. And guess what? The first thing that he says is, challenge orthodoxies, challenge established thought, challenge the assumption that things are the way they seem to be. You must be willing to challenge that. Yeah? Just like George Bernard Shaw said 100 years ago, that you must be willing to change your thinking. Otherwise, you cannot change anything at all. Yeah? Harness Second, good book. I put a YouTube reference. You can actually listen to Robin Gibson explaining these 4 lenses. Finally, I want to end with a case study. This is a book published a few years ago. David Butler was the branding manager for Coca-Cola. And Linda Tischler, she's a consultant. She's a trainer. Yeah, they got together and they wrote this book. This is a good case study for innovation. I don't know if you have seen this issue in the work that you do or in the business that you have. When business is very small, when business is young, when an organization is small, when an organization is young, they are very nimble, they are very agile. They can move. They can adapt to the market very fast. Yeah? But they don't have the benefit of scale. They don't have the benefit of huge resources. But as organizations become big, as they have scale, most organizations suffer this. They become less agile. Now, Coca-Cola has been the producer of the #1 beverage on planet Earth. And they have done that for very many years. How did they stay #1? It is not by accident. It is not by accident that people like Coke. You have been mentally trained to like Coke. There is a big, I won't say conspiracy, although Prof. Mark was talking about conspiracies this morning. It's almost a marketing conspiracy. Yeah? But the business model of Coca-Cola has been so different over the different decades. And the reason for that is they have consciously decided to be agile while keeping their scale. So this book is How to Be Big and Flexible. How to be big and flexible. Are you suggesting a big idea for your research? If you are, please read this book, because you will need to be able to suggest how to be big and great and yet agile and yet flexible. Happy innovation to you. Thank you.
Okay, there's no time for Q&A according to Dr. Harvey. So he has planted us a lot of new ideas. So it's time for us to nourish our physical body by having a tea break. So we will conjoin at 3:30.